The void was silent. No stars shimmered here. No ships dared to fly through this place. The charts marked it only as Sector E7, but across the galaxy, every species called it the same name, the Forbidden Zone. It was a graveyard of vanished fleets. For thousands of years, explorers, traders, and soldiers had entered it, and none had ever come back. Rumors said space itself was alive here, that unseen shadows swallowed anything that moved. Others whispered about old human experiments, weapons lost after the first galactic wars. Whatever the truth was, no one wanted to find out. Even the mighty Galactic Council had sealed it by decree. Entry is forbidden. Approach means death. And so, the Forbidden Zone slept. On the edge of that darkness floated Observation Post Lura 9, a small alien station belonging to the Thauran species. The crew was bored. Nothing ever happened here. Their scanners showed the same empty readings every day, black silence, no energy signatures, no ships. Then one quiet cycle, the silence changed. Technician Varen rubbed his tired eyes as a red light blinked on his console. "Captain, I have movement." The Thauran captain frowned. "Movement? Inside the zone?" Varen nodded. "Yes, sir." One contact, large mass, crossing the boundary line. The crew gathered around the screen. A single dot pulsed slowly in the darkness. At first they thought it was a glitch, but then numbers began to stabilize: hull structure, metal composition, drive emissions. Every reading pointed to one thing: human technology. The captain's voice cracked. "That's impossible. Humans left this region centuries ago. No one has ever crossed that line." The dot moved deeper into the zone, steady, confident. The scanners tried to focus, but the interference grew worse. Static filled the room. Then a faint signal broke through the noise. A human transmission code, old, almost forgotten. Across the galaxy, alarms triggered. From the Council's grand chambers to distant patrol fleets, the message spread. Unidentified human vessel detected entering Forbidden Zone. No one believed it at first. Humans were unpredictable, yes, but suicidal? No species was that foolish. The Council ordered every observer to stand down. "Do not interfere," the command said. "Let them vanish like the others." But not everyone obeyed. Some alien scientists redirected secret probes. They wanted to see this ship with their own eyes. Deep inside the zone, radiation storms swirled like ghosts. Sensors broke apart. Signals twisted and echoed back as whispers. The human ship continued forward through the darkness. At last, one alien probe managed to capture an image, a blurred shape barely visible through static. It was enormous. Not a freighter. Not a warship from any known design. Its hull was black and burned, marked with symbols from old Earth. Plates of armor were torn and melted, as if it had survived endless battles. Across its side, one name flickered in broken light: Eidolon. The Galactic Council gathered in emergency session. "What is that ship doing there?" one member demanded. Another hissed, "Maybe the humans are testing us, sending old relics into the zone." A third voice whispered, "Or maybe they found something, and they're going to wake it." Outside, fear spread fast. Civilian networks called it the ghost ship of the zone. The military called it a potential threat. And somewhere on distant Earth, silent observers watched without comment. Inside the alien outpost, Varen stared at his monitor. The ship had stopped moving. It floated quietly in the black. No signals now. No movement. "Maybe it's dead," someone whispered. Then every screen on the station flickered white. For a second, the observers saw something impossible: shapes moving behind the human vessel. Massive, ancient forms hidden in the dark, like the outlines of sleeping giants. The scanners went blind. Systems crashed. Lights dimmed. The captain shouted, "Shut it down. Shut everything down." But it was too late. Something inside the Forbidden Zone had awakened. The static on the main viewer twisted into a single image, one colossal eye of light opening in the dark, reflecting the human ship before it. And then the feed went black. Hours later, the Galactic Council received the final report from Lura 9. Only one line of data remained, repeated over and over. Signal origin: human vessel Eidolon. Status: active. The rest of the file was corrupted, erased by an unknown source. From that day, the galaxy stopped calling it the Forbidden Zone. They began calling it something else. The place where the silence broke. Because for the first time in centuries, the zone was not silent anymore. Something ancient had moved. And somewhere in the darkness, a human voice whispered through static, "We're not alone anymore." The Forbidden Zone was alive again. After centuries of silence, Sensors across the nearby sectors buzzed with strange signals. Bursts of static, whispers of unknown origin, and energy readings far beyond normal levels. Every species in the Galactic Council wanted answers, but no one wanted to be the one to step inside that cursed space. And yet, someone already had. The human ship Eidolon, lost to the zone, was still transmitting. In the Galactic Communication Hall, thousands of screens flickered as engineers tried to decode the faint human signal. It was weak, full of distortion, but there was rhythm in it, something like a pattern. "Bring it up," ordered High Commander Relkar, his eyes fixed on the main display. The sound echoed through the chamber, broken voices, bursts of static and strange humming tones. Then, underneath all that noise, a few words became clear. "Project Origin, initialized, stand by." The hall fell silent. A scientist muttered, "Project Origin? That name doesn't exist in any record." Relkar turned slowly. "Then find out where it came from. Now." At the same time, far from the Council's reach, a small alien research vessel called HFY had taken position at the border of the zone. Its crew of explorers ignored every order to stay away. Curiosity burned brighter than fear. "Keep scanning," said Captain Liros. "If humans are inside, they might need help." The ship's sensors glowed with static. It was like trying to see through fog made of lightning. But then, one reading broke through. A massive rift opening in space. Liros gasped. "That's not natural." The crew watched as the void itself seemed to split apart. Through the rift, a faint outline appeared. A planet, ghostly and pale, slowly forming inside the zone. "There's no planet in that location," said the navigator. "The maps are empty." Liros whispered, "Then what are we looking at?" A moment later, a sharp pulse hit their scanners. It came directly from the Eidolon. The pulse wasn't an attack. It was a message. Encrypted. Ancient. Human. They began decoding it immediately. Line by line, the symbols unfolded on their screens. Some alien, some human, and others unknown to any language. The ship's linguist, a quiet being named Corin, leaned forward. "This isn't a distress call," he said softly. "It's a warning." The bridge grew cold. "What kind of warning?" Liros asked. Corin hesitated. "It says, 'Do not follow. It's waking.'" Before they could react, their instruments screamed. The planet inside the rift began to glow, its surface shifting like molten metal. Waves of strange energy spread out from it. Their systems crashed. Screens turned white, then black. "Pull back," shouted Liros. The HFY tried to retreat, engines burning at full power, but the darkness around them moved. A storm of static and light swallowed the ship whole. For a moment, the crew saw something, giant structures rising from the planet's surface, glowing blue like ancient machinery coming to life. Then just as suddenly, everything went silent. The next day, the Council received the last transmission from HFY. It lasted only 7 seconds. A voice, human, deep and distorted, spoke through the static. "Do not come. It belongs to us." The message ended with a sharp crack of interference, followed by one word in the data file: Eidolon. The Council chambers erupted in chaos. "They're claiming the zone," one ambassador shouted. "Then the humans are declaring war," another cried. Others argued it was all fake, a trick from rogue factions. But deep down they were all afraid. No one understood what Project Origin was, or what the human ship had found. Still, the fear of the Forbidden Zone began to grow again. Trade routes shifted. Civilian traffic was forbidden near its edge. Rumors spread across 100 worlds. The humans had awakened something. Meanwhile, in the darkness of the zone, the Eidolon floated above the ghost planet. Inside its command deck, Captain Aaron Cade stood in silence, watching the massive surface below. Strange lights pulsed on the planet like veins as if it were alive. The ship's AI, Nora, spoke softly. "Captain, the surface energy signatures match old human tech, estimated date, pre-expansion era." Aaron frowned. "That's impossible. No one had reached this sector before us." "And yet," Nora replied, "the structures below are human-made." The captain's heart pounded. "Then this isn't a random planet. This is what we came to find." He turned toward the window, eyes fixed on the shining world below. "Project Origin," he whispered. "It's real." Far away, alien fleets circled the edges of the zone, too afraid to go in but too curious to stay out. They kept scanning, searching for the human ship that had disappeared. One fleet, more daring than the rest, sent a drone forward. It entered the zone and transmitted for exactly 13 seconds before vanishing. When the data was recovered, The last image sent by the drone showed a vast metallic field, machines rising from the surface of the ghost planet, forming strange patterns in the dark. And there, in the middle of it all, stood a giant human symbol burned into the ground. A circle. A single word beneath it. Earth. The eidolon drifted silently above the glowing world. Its black hull reflected the strange blue light that came from the planet below, a dead world that was somehow alive again. Inside the ship's bridge, the crew worked in near silence. Every sound felt too loud, too dangerous. Captain Aaron Cade stood in the center, his eyes fixed on the main view screen. The planet filled it completely, a sphere of swirling clouds and flashing energy. No one spoke for a long time. Finally, the navigator whispered, "Captain, are we sure it's safe to stay here?" Aaron didn't answer immediately. His hands rested on the railing, his jaw tight. After a moment he said quietly, "No. But we came here to find the truth. And we're not leaving without it." The ship's AI, Nora, broke the silence. "Captain, I have translated 72% of the data we received from the planet's surface. It contains human programming patterns, very old ones." The crew exchanged nervous looks. Lieutenant Merrick frowned. "Old how? Pre-expansion. Possibly 2 or 3 centuries before the first galactic contact." The room went cold. That meant before the time when humanity had even reached the stars. How could human code exist here? Merrick asked. "This planet is on the edge of the galaxy. No one had ships that far back." Aaron turned slowly toward him. His expression was calm, but his eyes were not. "They did," he said. "You just weren't told." The crew stared. "What do you mean, Captain?" asked Merrick. Aaron took a deep breath. "Before the Council discovered Earth, before we joined their so-called alliance, there were other missions. Secret ones. Projects that never made it into the history books." He looked back at the planet. One of them was called Project Origin. The name filled the room like thunder. None of the crew dared to speak. Aaron continued. "Long ago, Earth sent colony fleets beyond known space. Most failed. Some disappeared. But one made it here. They weren't just settlers. They were scientists, engineers, and soldiers. They were building something. Something meant to protect humanity from what was coming." He paused, his voice lower now. "But they vanished. The Council claimed the region was cursed. Humanity was told to forget. My father never did." Lieutenant Marek's eyes widened. "Your father?" Aaron nodded slowly. "He led the original search for this system. He died trying to find it." The bridge was silent again. Only the hum of the ship filled the air. Nora's voice cut through the quiet. "Captain, a transmission is being broadcast from the surface. It is directed only at this vessel." Aaron frowned. "Play it." The speakers came to life with static. Then, beneath the noise, a soft, human voice spoke. "To any descendant of Earth, welcome home." The crew froze. The message repeated once more, then ended. Lieutenant Merrick whispered, "There are humans down there?" "No," Aaron said softly. "Not living ones." He turned toward the command chair. "Prepare a landing team. We're going to the surface." The crew hesitated. The pilot finally said, "Captain, the readings down there are unstable. The radiation." "I know," Aaron interrupted. "But whatever's down there is waiting for us. We have to see it." Nora's tone shifted, almost cautious. "Captain, surface scans indicate structures. Massive, buried deep under the planet's crust. They appear to be of human design. Power readings are increasing." Aaron narrowed his eyes. "It's waking up." As the landing craft descended through the thick clouds, lightning flashed across the sky. The planet's surface came into view, vast plains of black glass, and giant towers half buried in ash. It looked like a graveyard of machines. The landing team stepped out, their suits glowing faintly in the dim blue light. Everywhere they looked, the ground was covered in old markings, letters in ancient human script, symbols carved into metal. Merrick pointed at one wall. "Sir, that's the emblem of the United Earth Defense Force." Aaron touched the cold metal with his gloved hand. "These ruins are older than our current civilization. This was humanity's first frontier." The deeper they walked, the more alive the structures became. Lights flickered. Energy flowed through cables buried in the floor. Something beneath them was humming, steady, mechanical, like a heartbeat. Then Nora's voice came through the comms. "Captain, the central chamber is directly below you. Power levels are rising rapidly." They found a massive doorway sealed with thick armor plating. A faded warning was carved across it. "Do not open, Project Origin." Merrick swallowed hard. "Sir, we shouldn't." Aaron stepped forward. We came here for this. He placed his hand on the control pad. It scanned his DNA, then glowed faintly. The doors shuddered and slowly began to open. A blinding light poured out. Inside was a huge chamber filled with machines, rows of cylindrical pods, each one marked with the Earth symbol. Thick cables ran from the walls into a massive central core that pulsed with golden light. Nora's voice trembled slightly. Captain, I detect biological material inside the pods. Aaron stared at the chamber, his pulse racing. Are you saying? Yes. They're human. As the doors fully opened, one of the pods hissed and released a burst of steam. A faint human silhouette was visible inside. The sensors showed weak life signs. Merrick whispered, "Someone's alive down here?" Aaron stepped forward, eyes locked on the pod. He could barely speak. Project Origin wasn't a weapon, he said slowly. It was a seed. A way to restart humanity, if we ever fell. Then, suddenly, every light in the chamber turned red. A deep rumble echoed through the ground. Nora shouted through the comms. Captain. Power surge. Something in the system just activated. The central core flared with light, and a deep mechanical voice filled the air. Identity confirmed. Human command presence detected. Reactivation sequence engaged. The planet shook violently. Machines roared to life. Aaron whispered one final line before the comms cut off. They're waking up. The ground trembled beneath the crew's boots. Dust fell from the ceiling as the ancient machinery of Project Origin roared back to life. Blue energy surged through the floor, spreading like veins across the chamber walls. Lieutenant Merrick shouted, "Captain! The systems are overloading." But Captain Aaron Cade didn't move. His eyes were fixed on the central core as it glowed brighter, burning like a second sun. "Nora," he said sharply, "status." The ship's AI responded through his helmet speaker. Massive power spike detected. Planet-wide systems are activating. Unknown signal detected, broadcasting on human command channels. Aaron's heart pounded. Human command channels hadn't existed for centuries. The core spoke again, its mechanical voice echoing through the ruins. Reactivation complete. Awaiting command input. The lights flickered and all the pods around the room began to hum. Some hissed open, releasing clouds of cold vapor. Inside them were figures, humans perfectly preserved in deep stasis, their uniforms still marked with the old Earth Defense Force emblem. Merrick whispered in disbelief, "They've been here all this time?" One of the pods sparked, and a woman's hand pressed against the glass from the inside. Her eyes opened, glowing faint blue. Nora's voice broke the silence. "Captain, one of the units is awakening. Reading stable life signs." Aaron moved closer. The pod hissed open with a heavy metallic sigh. The woman inside gasped for air, coughing weakly. She looked confused, her skin pale, her voice faint. Where am I?" Aaron knelt beside her. "You're safe. You're aboard the Eidolon landing team. I'm Captain Aaron Cade from Earth." Her eyes widened at the word Earth. "Earth still stands." He hesitated. "Yes, but we thought you were lost centuries ago." She closed her eyes, whispering, "Then Project Origin wasn't in vain." Before Aaron could ask more, alarms blared in his helmet. "Captain," Nora said urgently, massive energy signatures detected across the planet's surface. Thousands of machines activating simultaneously. The ground shook again. Distant thunder echoed above them. Aaron turned to his team. "We're leaving. Now." The woman grabbed his arm. "Wait. If the defense systems are online, they'll target anything non-human, including you." Merrick shouted, "Captain. Look." The holographic display on the wall came alive, showing maps of the planet's surface. Dots appeared everywhere, hundreds then thousands of them, spreading like a swarm. Old Earth defense drones. War machines built to protect humanity's last line. As the team raced back to their shuttle, the sky above turned crimson. Massive towers erupted from the ground, unfolding into metal giants. They were old, scarred and covered in dust, but they still moved with terrifying precision. Each one pulsed with the same blue energy that flowed through the ruins below. From orbit, the Eidolon's crew watched in stunned silence as the planet came alive. Entire valleys opened to reveal underground hangars. Armored drones soared into the air in perfect formation. "Captain," Nora reported, "the planet's defense grid is activating. It's creating a barrier around the atmosphere." "Against what?" Aaron asked. "Unknown, but it's expanding rapidly. Anything approaching will be destroyed." Far beyond the zone, in the Galactic Council's central system, emergency beacons lit up. Dozens of alien fleets reported the same thing, massive energy spikes coming from the Forbidden Zone. Holograms of the human ship Eidolon appeared across the network. Human vessel confirmed at the source, one analyst said. Planetary defenses of unknown type are forming. This is no longer a myth. Something ancient has reawakened. Panic spread. Some council members demanded the immediate destruction of the zone. Others argued to wait. No one dared to send ships in. The Forbidden Zone, once silent, now glowed like a living storm. On the planet, Aaron's team reached the shuttle. The woman they rescued, her name was Commander Hale, was slowly regaining strength. She watched the storm outside with calm eyes. They're responding to my DNA signature. I was one of the command officers for Origin. Aaron looked at her, shocked. Then you can stop them? She shook her head. No. They were never meant to stop. Project Origin was designed to reawaken if humanity ever faced extinction. That time has come. As they lifted off, the sky exploded with light. The machines began transmitting signals that spread beyond the planet, beyond the zone itself. Warning. Human domain restoration in progress. The message repeated across every frequency. From orbit, the Eidolon's crew watched as energy waves spread outward, forming a massive sphere around the planet. The Forbidden Zone was expanding, slowly swallowing nearby space. The pilot whispered, "Captain, it's spreading. Every scanner in the sector can see it." Aaron nodded grimly. Then the galaxy knows we're back. But something else was happening. The Eidolon sensors picked up faint contacts in deep orbit, unknown ships approaching fast. Nora spoke softly. Multiple alien fleets detected at long range. Estimated arrival, 3 hours. Merrick clenched his fists. They're coming to contain us. Aaron stared at the planet below, glowing like a heart of fire. Let them come, he said quietly. They'll see what humanity left behind. Down below, Commander Hale stood at the edge of the landing bay, watching the sky turn red with energy storms. Her voice was almost a whisper. They never understood, she said. We built this zone not to hide from the galaxy, but to protect it from what's buried beneath. Aaron turned toward her. What do you mean? She looked at him with tired eyes. The defense grid isn't the only thing that's waking up. There's something older, something even we couldn't control. Lightning flashed across the sky as the machines roared louder. The planet's core pulsed once, then sent a massive shockwave into space, disrupting every signal in 100 light-years. On the Eidolon, the bridge went dark for 3 full seconds. When the lights returned, every screen showed the same thing. One message written in old human code. Project Origin, Phase 2 initiated. Aaron felt the weight of those words. He whispered, "This isn't a rebirth, it's a warning." And as the alien fleets closed in, the first human war machines of the old era began to rise from the planet's surface. Engines burning like suns, wings spreading wide. The silence of the zone was gone forever. The silence that once ruled the Forbidden Zone was gone. Now, energy storms twisted through space like living shadows. The stars flickered, dimmed, and pulsed with unnatural rhythm. From the bridge of Erebus, Captain Rian watched the chaos through the forward viewports. The darkness outside wasn't just empty space anymore. It moved. "Energy readings increasing," shouted Commander Vale. "It's coming from the relic structure below." Rian's jaw tightened. "That's not a structure anymore. It's waking up." Below them, the alien ruin that the Erebus had discovered was now fully alive. Massive panels shifted. Symbols glowed. And deep within the metal planet, something ancient stirred. The human crew could feel it, even through the shields, even through the silence. The air on the bridge vibrated like a held breath. Far away in the Galactic Council chambers, panic filled the room. Dozens of alien ambassadors shouted over each other, their screens showing distorted images of the zone. One trembling voice broke through. "The humans have awakened the Guardian." Gasp. Fear. Some refused to believe it. The Guardian was a myth, a weapon built by an extinct race before the Council even existed. It was said to destroy entire star systems if disturbed. And now, it had been disturbed. Back in the Forbidden Zone, Erebus trembled as waves of power slammed into its shields. Sparks flew across the control panels. "Shields failing 40%, yelled Vale. "Divert power from life support." Rian ordered without hesitation. The crew obeyed, faces pale but focused. They were humans, born for crisis, raised on survival. Where others would run, they stood. "Captain," said Dr. Isha Rin, her eyes locked on the sensor display. "It's not attacking us. It's scanning." Rian frowned. Scanning us? Why? Before she could answer, the ship's lights dimmed. A voice, deep, ancient, echoing through every system, spoke in a language no human knew. But somehow they understood it. You are not of the Makers. Yet you carry their fire. The crew froze. The voice continued, calm and endless like the void itself. The Makers are gone. Their guardians sleep. Why do you awaken us? Rian's throat went dry. He looked at his officers, each one staring back at him in silence. Then he spoke, his voice firm. We came for truth, not war. For a moment everything stopped. The energy storms outside froze mid-motion. The stars returned to stillness. Then, the Guardian replied. Truth requires sacrifice. You carry the spark that ended empires. You are the echo of destruction. The words sent chills through the crew. What does that mean? Whispered Vale. Before anyone could answer, the Erebus's main display flashed with an image, a projection from the Guardian itself. It showed Earth. But not the Earth they knew. This one was older, burning, under siege by fleets of alien warships. Then another image, thousands of human ships rising from the flames, retaliating with impossible force. Worlds falling. Empires collapsing. This is our past, whispered Dr. Rin. The Guardian remembers what humanity once did. Suddenly, alarm screamed again. A massive energy spike erupted from the Guardian's core, aimed not at the humans but at the outer rim of the Forbidden Zone. Captain, shouted Vale. Incoming signatures, hundreds of ships, alien fleets. The Council sent them in. Rian's eyes widened. They're walking right into it. Outside, the Guardian shifted, its colossal frame emerging from the metallic planet. Its form was no longer ancient ruin, it was a weapon, a machine of divine scale. The first wave of alien ships entered the zone. They fired at the Erebus, mistaking it for the threat. Rian slammed his hand on the console. Ray shields. Evasive pattern. But it was too late. The Guardian spoke again. War returns. The silence ends. The stars lit up like dawn. A beam of white fire erupted from the Guardian, tearing through space, destroying everything in its path. Alien ships vanished in seconds. The zone was filled with light and destruction. And in the middle of it all, the human ship Erebus floated untouched. Rian stared in disbelief. Why spare us? He whispered. The Guardian's final words echoed through the ship. Because the fire began with you. The light faded. The stars went dark again. The Forbidden Zone fell silent once more. Only one human ship remained, carrying the truth of what had awakened. The Forbidden Zone was quiet again. The storms had faded. The stars glowed faintly, like they feared to shine too bright. Captain Rian stood on the dark bridge of Erebus, surrounded by smoke, broken panels, and silence. They had survived. The Guardian, the ancient machine, had spared them. No one spoke for a long time. The only sound was the soft hum of damaged systems trying to recover. Commander Vale finally broke the silence. Sir, all alien fleets are gone. The entire Council Armada, wiped out in seconds. Rian didn't answer. He was staring at the holographic map. It showed a circle, the zone, glowing faintly with unknown energy. Something was still active inside. Dr. Isharin slowly approached. Captain, the Guardian, it's still communicating. Quietly. In low-band transmissions. It's like it wants to speak again. Put it through, Rian said. The bridge lights flickered as the ship connected to the ancient frequency. The same deep, powerful voice echoed once more, but softer this time, almost tired. Human vessel Erebus. You carry the flame of the Makers. Their legacy of war. Their hunger for truth. Rian replied carefully. Guardian, we didn't come to fight. We came to understand. Why did you destroy them? The fleets outside. The answer came after a long, heavy pause. They came with weapons. You came with questions. The difference defines survival. The crew exchanged glances. No one dared to speak. The Guardian continued. Long ago your kind built us, to protect the galaxy from itself. But when you fell, the stars fell silent. Until now. Dr. Ren's eyes widened. It's saying, humans created these Guardians? Vale shook his head in disbelief. That's impossible. Humans were never that advanced. The Guardian's voice grew stronger, like thunder beneath their feet. You have forgotten your origin. You were once the architects of peace and destruction. Your return signals the end of the long silence. The crew felt the deck tremble. Outside the viewport, lights flickered in the darkness. Dozens, no hundreds, A faint glows appeared across the zone. Dr. Rin gasped. Captain, those aren't stars. They weren't. Each glow was a structure buried deep in the void, massive rings, towers, machines, all slowly waking up. The Guardian spoke again. The others hear the flames call. They will awaken. The balance will change. Rian stepped closer to the console, his heart pounding. If they all wake up, what happens to the galaxy? It begins again, said the Guardian. Judgment. Renewal. The cycle of creation and fire. Far beyond the zone, the Galactic Council's surviving members were in chaos. Worlds screamed for answers. Who had unleashed the Forbidden Zone? Why were there reports of ancient signals spreading across space? And every signal carried one name, human. Back on Erebus, Dr. Ren whispered, Captain, the Guardian is sending us coordinates. A message encoded in human DNA patterns. DNA patterns? Vale asked. Yes, she replied. It's something only we can read. It's meant for us. Rian's eyes narrowed. Show me. The data unfolded on the main screen, lines, numbers, maps. Then, slowly, it formed into a recognizable star chart. Dr. Ren's voice trembled. Captain, these coordinates point to Earth. Rian stared at the glowing map. Earth, the cradle of humanity. Abandoned centuries ago. Thought to be lost. Why would the Guardian send us home? He muttered. As if answering his question, the Guardian's voice filled the ship one last time. Return to where it began. The truth of your fire lies buried beneath your own world. There you will find the reason for your silence. The voice faded. The energy readings dropped to 0. The Guardian went still. Every structure in the zone powered down, returning to sleep. Only the Erebus remained illuminated in the void, engines humming quietly. Commander Vale looked at Rian. Orders, Captain? Rian took a long breath. Set course for Earth. Dr. Rin turned to him. After what we saw, do you think Earth is still alive? Rian's eyes hardened. After what we saw, I think it's waiting for us. The ship turned slowly, breaking through the edge of the Forbidden Zone. Behind them, the darkness sealed itself once more, calm, cold, and silent. But something had changed. Across the galaxy, signals began to awaken. Ancient eyes opened in the deep void. The galaxy had felt the human spark again. As Erebus entered hyperspace, Rian watched the fading lights of the zone. He whispered to himself, the silence is over.